Manchester City 2, Aston Villa 1, and that is Champions League football almost confirmed. That has now taken us 4 points above Aston Villa in the Premier League table with 4 games remaining. Yes, of course, we've got the other teams around us at the moment, but that win was absolutely massive. And Jeremy Doku and Matheus Nunes have just lit up my world. I mean, wow. What a moment that was in the dying moments of the game. The game looked like it was completely heading towards a 1-1 draw. The second half kind of, it was looking like it was going to die a death. And Jeremy Doku, out of absolutely nowhere, receives the ball on the left-hand side in the 93rd minute of the match, skins Disasi, drives to the Aston Villa box. Trivela assists it across the face of the goal, all the way to the back post towards Matheus Nunes. He sticks it in. It's a great finish from Matheus Nunes. And that is 3 points right there. A massive 3 points to take us towards Champions League football next season. And boys, I am so over the moon about that one. And you know what? I'm so happy for the pair of them. Jeremy Doku, in my opinion, has improved on his end product this season. I think there's been a clear difference between the Doku we saw last season and this season. I do not feel like he's been getting the credit for that. And also Matheus Nunes, who's had a lot of stick by people like me. I've criticized him defensively in the right back role. Some people might think I'm a Matheus Nunes critic. Maybe I am. But I've just been pointing out the defensive flaws where I've seen them. But I am so happy for Matheus Nunes to get that moment in a Manchester City shirt. Obviously, he signed at the beginning of last season. He really hasn't made an impact at the club so far. He's kind of got a little bit of a starting role in the club. Now Kyle Walker's left, and he's got his moment in a Manchester City shirt. That is probably the biggest goal that we've scored all season long. And in terms of the performance, I thought, while obviously it wasn't the most scintillating performance we've seen this season, I do think that, we controlled Aston Villa really well. I don't think that they really had that many incredible transitions on us. Really outside of the Marcus Rashford threat, I would say. Ruben Diaz was really struggling to deal with Marcus Rashford individually, but I think that was more of a Ruben Diaz issue than the way that we actually set up in the game. I thought we pressed really well. I thought we kind of pinned Aston Villa in. I don't think we allowed them to be able to play through us. So I thought, in terms of the way we performed defensively, I thought we actually did quite well today. And I think a key detail that maybe some people didn't pick up on today was Bernardo Silva's positioning specifically for Matheus Nunes, allowing Matheus Nunes to be able to get forward in the play and not have to worry as much about getting back defensively or leaving his position defensively, because Bernardo Silva played in that pocket in the midfield just around where Matheus Nunes was situated, and whenever Matheus Nunes would go forward, Bernardo Silva would then fill in that right back role and be able to help out the balance of the team. And I think that really worked well against Aston Villa today. And I thought Bernardo Silva had a really good performance in terms of his application, in terms of getting about the park. I think some of the passes he even picked out were really good. I thought Bernardo Silva had a really good performance today, and I think we should point that out because I think he's got a lot of critics this season, and some of them are rightly deserved, because I think off the right hand side specifically, he just doesn't have the legs, the pace, the ability to create off the right hand side like he used to. But in the central areas, playing in that kind of role that he did today, I think he could be really useful between now and the end of the season, and potentially, it looks like he will be leaving the club, but if he was to stay at the club, that is a role I think he could maybe play going forward, but not off the right-hand side. Another player that I thought actually had a really good performance as well today was Josko Gvardiol, playing alongside Ruben Diaz, who just had an absolute nightmare at times. It mustn't have been easy playing alongside him tonight, because Diaz was making quite a few mistakes. But I thought Josko Gvardiol was really good, composed, really strong in his defending. I don't think he really made an error in the game at all, so I gotta say, as a centre-back, Josko Gvardiol is really impressing me coming towards the back end of this season. I also thought Nico O'Reilly had a good performance today, playing in that left back role. There was one ball he put across to James McAtee. McAtee should have got on the end of it and finished it, to be honest. Absolutely brilliant ball. And I thought overall his composure, the way he played on and off the ball, Nico O'Reilly was really good again today. But as I said, there was probably one standout bad performance in the squad today, and that has to be Ruben Diaz. The amount of times in the first half specifically, he got caught out from that long ball over the top by Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford, if he had his finishing boots on, he could have scored a couple more today, if we're being completely honest. Especially that chance he got in the opening stages of the game. He absolutely tore Ruben Diaz apart. Diaz did not know which way to turn, and he hits the post, luckily for us, but that could have been 20 minutes into the game, 1-0 to Aston Villa, and that could have turned out to be a completely different game today. And then, of course, we've got the penalty incident, which, in my opinion, was a penalty. I don't think we can have any arguments about it. I saw saw some people online, complaining about the penalty. I think it was a pretty obvious penalty, if I'm being honest, lads. I think he gets across him. I think he makes the contact, brings him down. It's just poor from Diaz. He doesn't need to make the challenge. He gets contact. He trips him over. And unfortunately for us, that is 1-1 to Aston Villa from pretty much nothing. It didn't need to happen. But yeah, overall, I'm absolutely thrilled by the result today. I'm really, really happy that we managed to get over the line. This was a must not lose game, I think it was, in terms of Champions League football. If we lost tonight against Aston Villa, I think it would have put us in a real precarious position to get Champions League football. A draw, I think, would have just kept us at the kind of same situation we were at heading into the game, where it was kind of open for everyone. It was a little bit of a free-for-all between 3rd and 7th. I think after winning tonight, I think that pretty much eliminates Aston Villa from the Champions League, as long as we can do our business. I think it eliminates Aston Villa from getting Champions League above us. And I think Chelsea, with the fixtures they've got as well, they've got a few difficult fixtures coming up. I think they'll struggle to pick up enough points to keep pace with City. So I think that we've got Champions League football now. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'd really struggle to see Chelsea and Aston Villa finishing above us now with 4 games to go in the season. But we're going to move swiftly on to the player ratings, because I really want to get into these player ratings today, because I've got a lot of opinions to share, believe it or not. Ortega going in at goalkeeper, of course. I'm going to give him a 7. Outside of the penalty, he didn't have that much to do today. There was one good save I think he made when Rashford was coming through in behind. He had to come out, make the save. So I think he did all right. I mean, he didn't get asked to do that much today, but in terms of what he had to do outside of the penalty, which I don't expect him to save the penalty, yeah, 7 for me. Then for the right back position, Mateus Nunes, I'm going to give him an 8. I think he did make the mistake originally for the first goal for the Ruben Diaz penalty situation. He gives the ball away really cheaply in the midfield. However, I think he made up for that in his overall performance. He didn't really get caught out that many times defensively today. I thought overall in his play on the ball, he was a threat going down the right-hand side. And I think, and then of course the goal to win us the game as well. So for me, Mateus Nunes gets a very solid 8. I think even outside of the goal, we had a good performance today. So outside of obviously giving the ball away cheaply for the goal, I thought he was quite good. Moving on to the centre-backs, Ruben Diaz, I'm going to give a 5. I've already spoke a little bit on Ruben Diaz in the video. For me, nowhere near good enough. I don't know where his levels have really gone since last season, or maybe even a couple seasons before. The treble-winning season was obviously the standout season from him. I'm yet to see him get back to that form, the leadership that he showed, the desire. He was one of the best centre-backs in the world for me. I thought he was absolutely unbelievable, specifically in the treble-winning season. This season, he's been really off the boil. And yeah, for me, really disappointed in Ruben Diaz today. I thought he had a poor performance. Josko Gvardiol, I'm going to give an 8. I thought he was outstanding. I've already obviously mentioned it earlier in the video, but I thought off the ball, even being a threat off corners into the box, I thought Josko Gvardiol was really good today, so impressed by him. Nico O'Reilly, I'm going to give an 8 as well. I thought he was really, really good on the ball, off the ball. Defensively, I've been really impressed by him. Defending in that left-back role as a central midfielder where you've played pretty much all of your academy experience before coming into the first team in the central midfield position, then being shipped out into that left back position where you've got to defend balls over the top, and you've got top class Premier League footballers running at you, challenging you. I think Nico O'Reilly's done really well, and I'm really impressed by the composure in which he has. He seems to always, whenever he receives the ball, he calms himself down. He picks out the right pass. He doesn't just rush it. He takes his time. And I'm really, really impressed with Nico O'Reilly so far. What a talent we have uncovered this season. Going into the midfield, for Kovacic, I'm going to give him a 6. I don't think he had a actually, no. I'm going to correct myself. I'm going to give Mateo Kovacic a 7. There was a couple of moments in the game where I know obviously some people are frustrated. There was a pass that went out. There was a couple of misplaced passes that he had. But there was a couple of moments in the game where he did bring us through the midfield quite well. And I do actually think he had a decent performance today. So for me, Mateo Kovacic is going to get a 7. Then the other midfielders, Bernardo Silva, I'm going to give him an 8. I thought he was really good. Obviously got the opening goal of the game today. As I said before, filling in that channel for Mateus Nunes when he'd go forward. Bernardo Silva, I think, was a key part of what we did today in the midfield. So I've got to give him an 8. And I've also got to give Pep his flowers, because a lot of people criticised his selection of Bernardo Silva, but where he played him today made a lot of sense. İlkay Gündoğan, for me, I'm going to give him a 6. I think he was pretty anonymous from the game. İlkay Gündoğan's actually been quite good in the last couple of weeks. I've been impressed by his performances. Today, not really involved in the game enough. Didn't really have any sort of impact. So for me, İlkay Gündoğan gets a 6. Kevin De Bruyne, I'm going to give him a 7. He created a couple of chances, of course. It's Kevin De Bruyne. He's going to create chances throughout the game. I don't think he was anywhere near his best today. I think that was that one, opportunity which he pinged in behind for James McAtee, which was an absolutely wonderful touch. And I mean, if that goal went in from McAtee where he tries to chip the goalkeeper, would have been absolutely sensational, but it wasn't to be. But for Kevin De Bruyne, he still created a couple of chances, so I'll give him a 7. Moving on to James McAtee, though, I'm going to give him a 7. I thought he played well today again. He didn't get his goal, but I thought, overall, the thing I like about James McAtee is he's busy. He arrives in the box, he makes runs, he gets on the ball, he tries to make things happen, and I really like that about him. So for me, James McAtee gets a 7, although, he didn't impact the game a whole deal today. Then for Omar Marmoush, I'm going to give him a 8. I'm going to give Omar Marmoush an 8. He was the one that created the first goal for us. He drove at Matty Cash down that byline. He was the one that, created that goal pretty much. I thought overall in the game, he's busy. I mean, that's the thing I love about Omar Marmoush. He presses, he does a lot of the dog work, and he's also quality as well. And he's never afraid to, get the ball at his feet, try and go past someone, try and do something for the team. And I think going forward, he's going to be a phenomenal player for us. So for today, he gets an 8. Then for Jeremy Doku, the substitute, I'm going to give him a 9. I'm going to give him man of the match. Now, some people might say, why are you going to give him man of the match? Mateus Nunes got the goal, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. But that assist, the way that he took charge of that moment of the game, in the 93rd minute, we needed someone to pop up with some sort of magic. Over the years, it's been Kevin De Bruyne. Obviously, Kevin De Bruyne is, dipping in terms of the peak of his powers now. We're looking for someone else to step up in that moment in the game where we desperately need Champions League football. Jeremy Doku steps up, rinses Disasi off of the left-hand side, absolutely bodies him as well. Disasi tries to pull him back. He's too strong for Disasi. He drives in. He then gets that Trivela across. And by the way, if Yamal did that, if Yamal went and put that Trivela assist across the goal, everyone in world football would be talking about it. But Jeremy Doku probably won't get the praise. I've not gone on social media that much after the game, to be honest. But I'm sure he's not getting the praise that Yamal would do if he put that ball across. But the ball across was absolutely sensational. Right in the corridor of uncertainty, where the defenders can't get a hold of it. Emi Martinez doesn't know whether to go for it. Mateus Nunes says thank you very much at the back post, and that is all she wrote. So for me, Jeremy Doku gets man of the match for stepping up in that moment and really taking authority. So those were my player ratings for Manchester City against Aston Villa today. I'm just so grateful we managed to get the 3 points, if I'm being honest, because if we did not win today, we would have continued being on fighting towards the end of the season. And don't get me wrong, we still got 4 games where you have to fight for those 3 points, but you would expect Manchester City to come out on top on a lot of the games we've got remaining. We got some teams that are not by any means pushovers, but they're beatable teams. So you would expect us to go and pick up enough points to go get Champions League football between now and the end of the season. But yeah, obviously a massive 3 points, a mental end to the game. I am absolutely buzzing. And yeah, Manchester City 2, Aston Villa 1. That sounds good to say. 3rd in the Premier League. Yes, of course, the teams below us have got games in hand, but let's not think about that. But that is all from me. I'm going to go ahead and enjoy the rest of my evening in the peace of knowing that Manchester City are likely to get Champions League football next season. Let me know in the comments section below as well what you guys thought of the game. If there's any player ratings you disagree with, let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button to, boost the content in the algorithm, all of that good stuff. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. But 3 points against Aston Villa. That's what we dreamed of, boys. Peace.